Hi Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. I'm back with video number 66. Today is Friday, March 14, 2025. I'm so happy that you could stop by. I have so much fun stuff to show you. I've gotten a lot of stitching done in the last 2 weeks. And I want to thank my longtime subscribers who are so faithful and comment and point out mistakes I've made or make suggestions or ask questions. It's so much fun to have a dialogue going. And if you're new and you've just found my channel, you're very welcome here. I hope you see something that you like and that you will click like on the video, and I hope that you will subscribe. It really does help the channel when you do a like, because it puts us in an algorithm that shows up with other viewers who like the same things we like, and it really does help the channel. So I hope you take a second to do that if you see something you like. Okay, so I said the video number. This is take number 2. Sorry, I accidentally hit the turn off the video instead of pause. So here we go. What have I done in the last 2 weeks? I stitched every day for 2 weeks, so it was great 2 weeks. I think I accomplished a lot. Some little stumbling, bumbling around trying to do a prototype, and I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. So I have a fully finished object, and hang on. And a finish, and new starts and whips. So I'm going to start showing you. Okay, last video, remember I told you that I was looking around for spring ideas, spring things I wanted to stitch. And I came across this little kit in my basket, and I had forgotten about it. It's ABC, My Pins and Me from Brenda Gervais. And as I say, it was a kit. And it came with everything except the stuffing. So it was the printed fabric, not felt, I guess it's wool felt, and pins. It did not come with the floss to wrap around, but I used my DMC on that. So here it is. Nice little pincushion, stuffed hard with walnut shells. Now I did not use, it called for pearl cotton number 8, which in my opinion was kind of thin. So I went to my DMC and pulled out the same number, the color number, and used 6 strands of DMC and wrapped it around instead, because I thought it would show better, and it does show better. And so I have a nice little pincushion to add to my collection. Thank you, Brenda Gervais. That's a sweet little thing. Okay, and my fully finished object, you probably are going to guess this, because it was so close last time. Yes, the Smith sampler is done. This was my birthday start in February 2024. It did not make it in time for the birthday this year to be finished, but it is finished now. Ta-da! I finished this at Central Kentucky Stitchers Stitch-In Day in Georgetown, Kentucky. So they were in the room where it happened. So I'm so happy to have this done. So happy. I stitched this on 40 count cottage stone from Color and Cotton, and I used the Vicky Clayton silks. And I was asked last time to please give a close-up of the sampler. So I will try. My tripod has a handle that sticks out in front, so I can't get too close. So I hope you're seeing what you wanted to see. And in the basket, I stayed with, as the pattern called for. I did not do a different design in there. Some people have done that. It looks beautiful too. But we have, in my family, we have a connection with a smith. My mother's stepfather was a smith, and he raised her like she was his daughter. So he is a well-loved memory in our family. I never met him, but isn't that pretty? I love that bird and the house. And the peacocks. Now the last thing I still want to do, I just remembered this morning, I want to put my initials and a date down here below that border, and it'll just be in the border of the picture. Of the framing. So I'll try to pick a subtle color. I was thinking maybe that light green down there would be a subtle color to pick. So there it is, Smith Sampler, done, yay. I might even take it to be framed today. I need to run to Hobby Lobby for some black Velcro anyway. So that would be fun. Oh, and I wanted to tell you now that Smith Sampler has vacated this birthday girl bag, Mrs. Campbell has moved in. She was my birthday start this year. So we'll see if I can get her done this year. And this is from Barry at Stitch Folk. And since I have new viewers, I want to go over again how I keep track of my whips and so forth, my focus pieces and etc. So I use the Stitch Journal from the Fat Quarter Shop. I'm now in volume number 5, and I've actually numbered them because I was getting confused as to which one I needed to pick up. So Smith Sampler is in this volume, and it is number 29. At the front, it has numbered all the pages, so as you start a project, you put it on the next available page. So I know Smith Sampler is number 29. Oops. And when I finished it, I put the finish date on the page. I really like this journal because I can keep all the details of my projects. I don't find that there's enough room on the Book of Days to keep the details. And even like this one, I stitched it 1/2. Sometimes I put what size needle I used or anything else that I think is pertinent to the project. And the way I keep track of my whips, my focus piece, as I started to tell you, when I finish a piece, I put the date, the finished date, in the table of contents. So as I go down the table of contents, I can see what my oldest whip is because it does not have an end date. Now, Ann Borrett, in truth, is my oldest whip, but she's a special case. We talked about that in January, I think. So now Smith Sampler now has a finish date on it, and going down, I can see that my next focus piece is going to be Ann Gott. The next one after that is going to be, who was that? Margaret Hutton. So that's how I know what's the oldest whip. And you know, if I keep doing that, it's easy for me to know what one I'm going to go to next. And I keep track in the Book of Days. I added pages. I had it spiral bound and added pages. So I have a tab here for finishes. And those are my finishes so far. And Smith Sampler, it's right there, and there's the date. So now I don't have as many finishes this year as I have in the past so far because, as I told you, I think at the end of last year, I decided I was really missing my quilting and was feeling like, oh, I need to do quilting. I have to make time. So what I do now is I divide my available stitch time between my machine work and my hand stitching work. So that has slowed down the finishes on my hand stitching, but I'm really happy to be working on my quilts again. It's great. It feels good to be doing that again. You know, it's a lot of money invested in those materials, and I want to use them and get them done and feel good about it. So that's why I'm not kicking myself because I don't have a ton of finishes, but that's the way it is. Okay, another thing I stitched on was Martha Miller. This is designed by Sylvia Steckler of Running with Needles and Scissors, and she is a member of the Queen City Sampler Guild, as I am, and we are doing a sale with this. Members are choosing to do this. We had a catch up by Zoom just the other night. Last night. It was last night, yeah. So, and I have kept up. I have done my 3 months worth of stitching, so I am on track to be finished in September so far, if I don't stumble. And here is Martha Miller so far. That's 3 months. Now, there was a lot of words on that, which, you know, is faster to stitch sometimes than the motifs, so stitching might slow down. We'll see. And I have sort of spilled over into the next section. Wherever I had a thread color, I was going to just finish the thread color, or for the sake of counting and being clear about where something went, I finished a motif so that I won't get mixed up. And that's where that is. That's where I am. So that's Sylvia Steckler's the designer. Martha Miller. Okay, that was Martha Miller. A Stitch in Time Saves 9. Oh, Martha lives in this bag that I made. That's a bobbin holder that doesn't match, but it holds my bobbins because I'm stitching that on DMC. Okay, A Stitch in Time Saves 9. This is from Hands Across the Sea. It's an exclusive to Stitch in Time out of Hobart, Tasmania. And it's a beautiful little sampler. I'm stitching this on 40 count milk and, cream and sugar. 40 count cream and sugar from Fiber on a Whim. And I'm using DMC 321. Yes, that's that bright Christmas red. And I've tried to do the dividing designs. There is double running back stitch in this. I think that was the only specialty. Yeah, just double running back stitch. So some of them, you can see they're a little fussy. Not hard, just a little fussy, and it takes a little time. But I'm getting there. This may very well be done next month. Stitch in Time Save 9, got all that done down at the bottom. Okay, and I do 3 days a month on a red sampler. I always have a red sampler on the go. And that bag, that stitch bag, has 3 or 4 other little girls all lined up, ready to go to become the next all red sampler. Okay, so I will come back with my spring starts. Okay, I'm back. I had shown you several potential starts for spring last video, and you may be wondering which one I chose to take with me on my trip. I chose all 4, the 4 that I thought were the most likely. So here, oops, I paused and then I didn't grab these. Okay, so they are Henry and Clara O'Hare. They're finished as stand-ups. I'm counting these as 1. They really are 2, but anyway. Okay, so 2. So they are going, and I chose those because they're on 30 count fabric. So I could potentially manage it even without magnification. Okay, samplings 1 and 2 from Brenda Gervais. Is that upside down? No. Okay. Samplings 1 and sampling 2. Now, all of the original patterns and all of the finishing items are staying here. I'm not taking them with me. I'm just taking the bare minimum of what I need to have with me to do my stitching. And I'm taking spring green pears. And again, all the finishing stuff is going to stay here so that my bag isn't too full. Now, I made a bag using Carrie Tiger Lily Designs pattern. I made the 2-sided folder, but it's still hard to fit stuff in. And so many of them have DMCs. Okay, the rings, if they had DMC and weeks and so forth, I had them on a ring, but that's too bulky to have 4 or 5 rings of threads in here. It's just too bulky. So I was trying to I have been experimenting making floss holders, adjusting from Carrie's pattern to make it fit in this side pocket. And it can work, but it's still thick. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but they need to fit in my carry-on. Not that I'll probably stitch on the plane, but I will stitch in the airport and while on the trip. So anyway, I'm still messing with this. This has taken a lot of time, frankly, trying to come up with a design to do various sizes of thread holders to make it more compact. So that's what I've been fussing with. But I've also started stitching because when I get going on the trip, I want to be able to just pick it up, not hem haul. Well, where do I start? What's the count? How do I have to center it? So I will do all of that before I go, so I can just pick it up and go. Now this I started yesterday. This is the small green pear, and I did this much because that establishes the width of that. So then I came over, whoops, okay, and I'm going to start, and I'm keeping this on the hoop because I have to pick it up again. I've just started the next one, and there's lots of room for the third one, and I'm going to get the start on those before I go. And this is stitched on 36 count agave. Now I do need magnification for this, but the advantage of this is there's one thread. This is Dinky Dye's Pearl. So that's the start on that one. I will continue working on that one today, I think, so I have a good start. And as I say, I've been messing around with these thread things. Let me get out my other starts. Okay, so Henry and Clara. The pattern did not say where to start. I didn't know where to start. So I started at the bottom, but I'll just work up. So now that the beginning is established, I can just pick it up and I know where I'm going. I'm just going from the bottom up. This is Clara again. Did her feet, started up her apron. So it's ready to pick up and go. Okay, that's Henry and Clara. Where are the others? Okay, samplings. Which number is this one? The bunnies. Okay, this is samplings number 1. I started with the bunnies. Where's the picture? Let me show you. Started with the bunnies, and then I can count out from around there. So that gave me my start. That was approximately center. You can see I folded it to find my approximate center and started stitching that. So that's samplings number 1 has a start. Samplings number 2 is here, has butterflies. Is this number 2? Yeah, this one. These are pre-printed, and this is the stitch. So there, I did the butterflies. So I'm in the center, and I can count out around that and get going on that. So I'm trying to make it as compact as possible, as easy to pick up and start as possible, to make sure I don't leave something significant at home and then be on the road and have no way to stitch. So that's what I'm working on, trying to get this packed in a convenient way. But these rings, this is the last one. I haven't done anything about this one yet. These rings are just too much because I have, what do I have? 5 different patterns in here. So, and I've made just working copies of the pattern, the original pattern, Staying Home, which is on the back of this. But then I also copied the front and the picture on, so I have that. And then the other side is my working copy. So that's what I'm doing for my spring starts, and I will be stitching those on my trip, see how much I get done. And when I come back, I will show you some haul. And this is not a lot, so don't run for the hills. Okay, my haul, not so much, but again, I'm in 2 floss clubs with Fat Quarter Shop, the Weeks Dye Works Club and the Classic Color Works Club. So I've gotten my floss fixes for this month for both of those clubs. So I will get those on the weeks. I will add those plastic tabs to the top and get those into my storage system. And that storage system is getting pretty overflowing. So I do see why Vanna Pfeiffer has a separate box for each brand. I get that now because I'm getting quite a few. So I may have to do some changes to that because it's getting awfully full. So that's the thread fix. And from Shakespeare's Peddler, or Kitten Stitcher, Prunella Squash Bottom. Mrs. Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom. As you recall, I stitched the Rev. He's done. He is all done. Love him. And I have enough fabric, the same fabric, to stitch Prunella. And that's my plan. So she's here. She's here, and that'll be soon to start, maybe. I've got so much stuff going. That's Prunella. Well, I could not just order Prunella all by herself, so I got to quote Shakespeare, which I've loved for a long time. This is Brenda Gervais, of course, also. I'm going to finish it in that nice little box, and that's another soon to be started, but it's not kitted yet, and I haven't gotten the box, so it'll be down the road, but I love that. I've loved that for a long time. And that is the sum total of my haul. Now I have plans, and don't go away. I have plans, and then I'm going to show you how I do my organization of when I finish a quilt project, what I do with scraps and what I do with the bigger pieces of fabric. I'll show you my storage system, and and then we have a quilt to talk about too. So, okay, my plans. Top priority, two things top priority, and I want them both done before I go. I'm doing a quilt for a Fat Quarter Shop, and it's on the machine, long arm. I finished quilting it yesterday, so it's ready to come off, get trimmed, and binding put on. And I have to do final photos of it. They're actually due to be submitted the week after I get back from my trip, and I don't want to think about it when I'm on my trip, and I don't want to take a chance I'm going to forget when I get home from the trip. So I want to do those before I go. So that's doable. I can do that. So because it just needs to be trimmed and bound. So I'll do that. The other thing I want to do is another gift. I did one gift, and that one's done, but I want that mailed before I go. And let's see. So those are the two priorities. And then I'm going to clean out that box that my quilt has been stored in, and I'll show you that process. My next focus piece is Ann Gott. She'll get 7 days. I will finish the red sampler. That gets 3 days, and I might even start the next one if I get, depending on how quickly I get that done. I will stitch the next month's assignment for Martha Miller. And that's my plans. And by the time let's see, what is it, April, where did I put my book of days? Right here, sorry. And I'm going to stick with Fridays, so when I'm back, April 11 will be the next Flosstube. And I'm not going to get all that stuff done by April 11, so no need to go any further with that. So I'm going to move over to my cutting table and show you how I store my scraps and etc. Okay, I'm at my cutting table, and this is the kind of box I keep my quilt projects in. It's a scrapbook box. Sometimes I have a few that are bigger because some projects are bigger, but this is what I keep my stuff in. Now I'm working with one hand, so I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. So here's the pattern pages, which I can't show you, but I can show you how I did my color selection. They printed a page that showed the colors they chose, and then there's a chart that shows you, if you're doing the table runner, you need this much, and if you're doing lap or doing twin or queen, whatever. So, and that's how I chose my colors, and I figured out where they would show up in the quilt, and that's what I did with that. And I chose French General fabrics, beautiful fabrics, and I have a bunch of scraps in here already. Now what I do is, when I have scraps, I cut them down into usable sizes according to Bonnie K. Hunter's system of scraps. And here's one that is a little, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do. These were all cut off, of course, of bigger squares. Now, can you see that? These were cut off from bigger squares. So half of it could be a half square triangle, except this is a seam across here. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be happy with that, if I just make those all into half square triangles, or if I will be unhappy with that and not want to use them because they all have a seam there. On the other hand, it doesn't really show much, but quilting, you want to be good. So I have to think about that, but I have a lot of those. Each block had 4 of those, so anyway. And I have in the other colorway, there were 2 colorways, like block color A, block color B. So, and again, these, oops, can you see? I'm sorry. I can't see what I'm pointing at. So there's a seam there. So I have to figure that out. How am I going to do that? And I have, apparently I can't count. There are a couple sections in here that I have 4 extras of. So this goes 4 times in one block. And this goes 4 times in one block. So that's a pretty big chunk of the block. So if I make another block, I may just do a pillow out of it. So, and then I have larger pieces of fabric left. So I'm going to go through anything that's a fat quarter or more goes into my color boxes. I should do like textile, Lori Textilist does, and have a French General box all by itself, but I don't have room for more boxes. So anyway, so I'm going to go through anything that's smaller. I will cut into the usable sizes and put it in my storage system. Now, hang on. Okay, I have under my counter over here, I have, I can't even see what you're seeing. I have clear drawer units, and they are marked with sizes. These are 2.5-inch scraps. Oops, whether they are strips or squares. They're cut 2.5. And Bonnie K. Hunter has this system, and then I have a drawer of 2-inch, 1.5-inch. Let's see, over here we have 3.5-inch. And she has figured out the sizes that go together mathematically. Oh no, I'm going to have a crash here because this is, the stuff on top is too heavy. And then I have a drawer of bits and a drawer of strings, and she has definitions for that. But so I cut down when I have stuff left over, clean out the box, cut it down, get it put away. You don't want to leave dirty dishes in the sink, and you don't want to leave partial fabric stuff laying all over. So then I have triangles. Now, can you see in this drawer? I have triangles, and they're all pre-cut. They were left over from projects, and this box is HST, half square triangle, 1-inch finish, 1-inch finish, 1.5-inch finish, 2-inch finish, 3-inch finish. So I've pre-done those. Oh, this drawer is a mess. This is zippers. This is zippers. When I went to one of my quilt shows, a vendor had purchased, I guess, a business that used to do fleece jackets or something, was going out of business, and she got all these zippers, and you could put as many zippers as you could into the bag for $5. So I grabbed as many as I could, but the colors are kind of strange. You know, it's a strange pink or a strange purple, and I've used some, but not as many as I would like. So that's that. And then the zippers are all just in here. I always hope I have the right color when I go looking to find a zipper for a project, but I never know. This has a not yet started quilt project. I have the pattern in here and a fat quarter bundle, but I haven't even started that yet. That's my light table. This is a Sue Garman quilt from the quilt show. And I saw pictures of the quilt, loved the quilt finished. And then when I got the fabrics, I don't like the fabrics. I just don't like them. And that's not fun to work on if you don't like them. I don't know. I don't know. Not wild about them. So I never started that quilt. Okay, this is a soon-to-be-started quilt, Sawtooth Cats. I've been gathering fabric for that. Are you seeing what I'm showing? Okay. And this is a little bundle of fabric that's going to be added to what I already have because it'll go with it and give me more options. That's Sawtooth Cats. What's this? Oh, skinny pillows. I have the pattern and wool for skinny pillows. Haven't done those yet. I showed this one to you once before. Polka dot bikini. It's ready to go. I'm anxious to get going on that. Cat Gravitas. It's the darling quilt. I have the backing. I have a few of the colors, but you have to have a range of blacks to grays to whites, and I don't have a nice gradation, so I haven't started that yet. This is leftover fabric from the fig tree, the Halloween quilt that I made. And then I also, the year after that fabric came out and it was so popular and sold out, they came out with a new printing of it. And this is a half-yard bundle of that kind of fabric right there. This is Dresden Bloom. I showed this to you before too. This is a laundry basket quilts pattern, and I'm anxious to get going on that. What is this? Oh, this one is a, not a Bonnie and Camille. That's the fabric. Camille Roskelly pattern. Jumping Puddles or something like that. And this is another fig tree project. I have to open that and see what that is. And that's just random sewing stuff. Just terrible. No organization whatsoever. Anyway, so I have clear plastic drawers. I like being able to see what is in my drawers. The builder thought I would want cupboards down there. I said, no, I want clear plastic drawers. So that's what I have. So that's what I do with that. Next, we'll go to the quilt. Whoops, I'm covering the thing. Okay, this is from Fig Tree Company. It's called Twirl. I know it's called Twirl because I have the mini Twirl on my wall in my sewing room, and I cannot find the pattern for Twirl. Don't know where it is. I never get rid of my patterns. I have other fig tree patterns all in one spot, and that pattern is just not there, so I don't know where it went. So beautiful Joanna Figueroa puts together such gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Love it. The stems are raw. No, did I turn those? I can't tell if I turned them or if they're raw edge, but they're a little zigzag on. And then, of course, the leaves are pieced. That border looks like a rice place. They have a piano key border and continuous curve in the blocks. And I'm thinking this is going to be custom because look at all that nice blank space to do fun stuff in. But not feathers. Don't want feathers with the leaves. I've got to do something else. So I have to stare at it a while and come up with some ideas. So I want to have a plan before I start. Don't want to just get it on the machine and go starting something and then going, nah, I don't like that. I have to have a plan. So this is a new one. This is, I think it's a queen size. Looks like a queen size to me. But again, I don't have the pattern. So, Joanna Figueroa. I discovered that I have skipped my Stitchy Kindness, so I'm going to come back and do the Stitchy Kindness in just a minute. Okay, I just have some special things to show you, and I apologize for skipping it. It should have been done earlier. When I went to, well, I mentioned that I had a gift and I got out the door. When I went to Sampler Symposium, I was gifted one of the most beautiful things I've ever received. I was so unprepared to do gifting at Sampler Symposium. It's embarrassing. And then I received some of the most gorgeous things. And this is so special. Look at this. This was made by Kathy Decker. She is Tea Creek Quilts on Instagram. She rescued this piece of antique stitching. Look at that. Someone's grandmother made that. And made it into a journal cover with feed sack fabrics. It's real feed sack. This is not reproduction. This is real feed sack. And look at the gorgeous, gorgeous quilting she did. And it's a journal cover. Look. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. I love it. And I was so embarrassed to receive something so wonderful. I just had this little bit of nothing that I gave out. So I did a little something for Kathy, and that went out the door. So I'm happy that that's done. But Kathy, this is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I just want to treasure it forever. And we were together for Central Kentucky Stitchers, and got a few things. Look what my friend Julia stitched this for me. And when she brought it up to me, I thought, well, why'd she stitch a K? She should do a J, but she stitched a K. And what her thinking was, is we got this spool at Hobby Lobby, several of us, and I did the stitching around here. This is a pattern from Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher. It was a freebie that I put around the spool, sewed it in the back, and then I used this for some of my special counting pins that I've made. But I don't like this fabric. It's hard. I would hardly call it fabric. It's very slippery something. Anyway, so Julia stitched this thinking I could put it on this. And I'm thinking of how I would do that and not destroy the fabric. So if any of you have done this and replaced a top, the fabric, just the fabric, the spongy is okay, I guess, but give me an idea of how I can do that and attach that and not ruin it. But I love this. I love the idea of having my initial on the top of it. I think that's wonderful. And thank you so much, Julia, for thinking of me. She's always thinking of stuff and giving stuff. And on our freebie table, someone shared this little scissor fob with the threads and everything. How cute is that? I think that was Wendy. I'm pretty sure that was Wendy. And I think Wendy also shared these 1-inch diameter hoops. I can envision some 1/1 stitching like an initial and putting it as a zipper pull on a bag. Cool. And Jody, talented Jody, has her own bees and gave everybody waxers from her bees. I feel like such a slacker. Being a beekeeper and making waxers, and oh my gosh, these gals are just wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, that was my Stitchy Kindness. Thank you for hanging around and sticking with me. I will be back on April 11, and I hope to have a lot of things done and lots of things to show you. So have happy stitching. Bye-bye.